flying in here any minute since it's
The
top of the hour.
homies.
There's probably some notifications going off.
Are you recording this session, Joel?
Yes, and let me double check that it is recording. Yes, it is. In fact,
Okay.
what's cool is I've got the Fathom thing running in the background, so it'll actually transcribe as well as do an AI summary, which I love.
Oh, nice.
So anyone that's dropping in, welcome. You are in the right place. This is the weekly briefing. This is Joel here, and I'm joined. Taking Tim's spot is our friend Dominic. So we'll get started in a minute here. But Dominic, I don't even know. Are you still in LA?
I just got back to LA. Yeah.
Yep.
Be here
Well,
for a couple months, I think.
yep. I'm in New York for a couple of months, except for the inevitable trip here, there, and the other. But I will be in LA, whatever that week was. I told you, third week of October or something for assembly and all that.
Oh, nice.
So, all right, let's see. I see some old friends. I see you, Kyle Kruger. How you doing? Dryson, Lewis from Pilot, Linda. How are you? Patrick,
What's up, Joel?
Philip. Hey, hey. Linda, I saw you in Chris Doe's thing today. That was cool. I enjoyed that.
Yeah, that was really good.
It was really good. I was like, man, the my man is getting better with age. Of course, I'm my tongue is in my cheek. He's no lightweight. Oh, look, I see Ryan Summers coming in hot.
We got some heavy hitters.
Stefan, how you doing? Val, Patrick's in the house too. Good to see all of you. We'll get started in about 30 seconds. All right. Can everybody see my screen? Is everyone having a nice chuckle over what they're seeing here? Ryan, I see Ryan with a big smile on his face. Eric he's doing one of those like, yeah. I took my meme and I repurposed it. I threw it in a subway station and it really makes the point, doesn't it? All right, let's get started. It's 2 minutes into after the hour. Welcome everybody. I'm Joel, joined by Dominic DiMaria. Am I pronouncing it correctly?
Yeah, that's it. DiMaria.
DiMaria. All right, I'm going to spotlight you and myself so we can get this on. So Dominic, welcome. I'm going to first kind of give everyone the quick hello. This is a weekly briefing. It is Wednesday, September the 27th. I'm Joel from RevThink. I'm normally joined by Tim Thompson. Tim's in Moldova over there, rubbing elbows with ambassadors and one of the Nolan brothers. I don't know if there's more than one, but the other Nolan. But so he couldn't be here this week, or else he would have joined Dominic as well. Because today we're going to talk about one of my favorite things, which is positioning and messaging and this like inevitably or invariably vexing challenge that all creative companies face of saying who the hell they are and what the hell they do. So with that, Dominic, please say hi and introduce yourself and maybe give like the quick bullet point of how you got here.
Yeah, well, first off, thank you for having me. It's always fun to be on a RevThink call. Yeah, my background in commercial art. At first, it was editorial photo, and that got me into commercial video, and eventually into a bit of like an agency structure. I built an agency business, and I got obsessed with the topic of positioning, not because it was a place of expertise, but because it was a serious weakness for me. And frankly, if I'm being honest, pretty much everyone in my sort of professional sphere, I felt like was really missing the mark on it. And I was head of the pack. I did not really have a command or an understanding of it. And it reminds me a little bit of, when I was young, about 9 years old, I was playing baseball and my dad was my coach. And I had this incredible opportunity where I was the youngest kid in the league and I came up to bat at the bottom of the ninth inning. Bases are loaded. We were 2 outs. I have one chance to like get a hit and win this game. And first pitch comes through and this dude's throwing heaters. And I got scared and I didn't swing. Second pitch comes and it's another heater and I get scared and I don't swing. And the third pitch comes and what do you know? It's another heater and I got scared and I didn't swing and I lost the game. embarrassingly. And my dad, who I credit to this day, he was a really good coach. He came up to me after the game and he said, he goes, look, I don't care how many times you strike out. You could strike out every at bat for the rest of your goddamn life if you want, but you are never going to strike out without swinging again.
Wow.
And so he put me in batting practice every single practice for the next 4 years. And my batting average eventually went from, it was probably like, if 300 is a good batting average, I think that first year my batting average was 90. The second year my batting average was 150, 180. By the third year I was batting 450. And then by the fourth year it was like 600. So it was just reps. I was swinging the bat and I started cracking the ball, more and more frequently over time. And there, that story, that's why I love sports, is because it gives you all these metaphors. But it reminds me of the Wayne Gretzky and Michael Jordan quote about you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. And the reason I bring that up now is because I think my experience with positioning was exactly the same. Like I had never even heard the word positioning until I met my big bro Joel right here, 2018, 2019. I came across your podcast first and started reading all the books and taking all the trainings I could find on it. And to this day, I don't ever introduce myself as an expert on positioning. What I have is the positioning practice and a workflow that seems to help me come up with good ideas.
So lately, just to give everyone a quick version of some of the work that you do now, I would say I look at you now as almost a fine artist and almost like crazy instigator. Like you're always coming up with some crazy idea that's going to make some crazy ass business. And then when you show me the way that you've positioned it or messaged it or represented it, manifested it to the market, I'm always like, whoa, like that makes me super curious and super interested. And then I look at my world where everyone here, they're not fine artists, they're commercial artists. And for some reason, what I see over and over again, and this is the reason this is like the hot topic today, because I've been hearing examples of it for the past few weeks. Commercial artists get stuck. For some reason, we can't seem to make this leap that I see you guys on the fine art side make all the time, which is I stand for something, I believe something, I make these big claims. I don't just talk about what I do, I talk about why I do it. And then there's this, I don't know, boldness and clarity that comes from it. So first of all, does that resonate with you, this like difference between the fine artists and the commercial artists?
Yeah, I mean, I honestly think that that's a really important place to start because that's my own experience as well. I mean, I was a commercial artist and I identified as a commercial artist. And I agree. I mean, I think I took this track of sort of like stepping into a fine art space and understanding that business better. But at the end of the day, what I came back to, and it's funny because I've been having this conversation for the last couple of years with my now business partner in the fine art business that we started. We have a sculpture business now. I think it's important to take those qualifying words away. So fine art, commercial art, and the best example of this ever is, the almighty Andy Warhol was a commercial artist. He used to, this man drew sketches of shoes to advertise in windows of department stores. And he started taking his setups and his screens from the screen printing and all his blanks from the studio. And he started putting them in art galleries and selling them as fine art. It was no different. It was the same exact stuff. And so this line of like, you're a commercial artist or you're a fine artist, it's like you're an artist. And I think where people get stuck, where artists get stuck in the commercial space is they think they have to represent themselves a certain way that is going to be acceptable to certain clients. And that leads to a conceptual, what's the word? Cacophony from the base. Your foundation is cracked.
Yeah, because you're ultimately saying, I got to listen to all these voices telling me what I should be, and there's a cacophony of, well, there's dozens of clients I work with now, and then there's hundreds of potential clients I work with, and thousands of brands out there. So therefore, I got to be all things to all people and somehow make everybody happy or whatever. And is that the cacophony you refer to?
Yeah, and basically, I mean, it's exactly that. And I think, when I look at the examples that you had up on the screen when we started this call, and we were texting about this a little bit too, I think you might as well just say, please hire me if you're just going to buzzword everyone to death, because at least you're being honest. When you when you just borrow your favorite buzzwords from everyone on LinkedIn, you just become word soup to people, and there's nothing that rings true about it. And I think ultimately where this comes back to positioning is not, you're not trying to answer the question like, what is my positioning? Trying to answer the question, where is my positioning? And the positioning exists in the mind of the prospect. It's all, you occupy space in the mind of the prospect. It's not copy on your website, it's not your sizzle, and it's not your portfolio.
So it's funny, I was just noticing, like in my little crazy example I mocked up here, in a way, what you're saying is this company that's got the white, right? At least they're saying hire us.
Right.
It's
That's a better strategy than saying creative problem solving storytellers. That's a better strategy.
Right. Well, like I know I'm just going to say this because I feel like it's just this continuing, I know crisis is a bit of I don't want to sound like an alarmist. It's such a prevalent issue. And here's what I want to do with our time remaining, because everyone here that's tuned in, let's talk about what does this look like in the real world? Like, how do companies like yours, how do they communicate? How do they message? How do they position? Why is that a problem? Let's actually look at a few examples. I know, but then I want to give you some inspiration, because there's a few examples I've come across lately that have made me say, damn, that's cool. And Dominic, you've got a couple examples as well.
Some fun ones.
Right. And then for anyone here that's a member of Confab, which is this roundtable mastermind that I do every week, when do we do that, Dominic? Is that next week?
Next Thursday, the 5th.
The 5th.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we're gonna do like a friendly roast of a few people showing up and saying, hey, take my website and tear it apart, or my pitch deck, or my swag, or my store, or whatever. And then Dominic, you're gonna take them, one person, put them in the hot seat and take them through your magnetic framework. So this is all kind of a precursor to that, just in terms of where we are and what we're doing here. So let me just share my screen, and Dominic, I'm going to get your feedback on this.
Let's do
it. This is totally unprepared, unscripted. Before we got on Zoom, I went up here and I Googled Motion Design Studio. And I want everyone to just notice, okay? Now, I don't know these people, so I'm not being judgy or critical of anyone. I'm not picking on anyone. But I just want you to notice, first of all, there's a sponsored ad that comes up with the shop right here. And notice this: experienced motion design agency in NYC, excellence and quality since 2018. Get a free quote. What? Okay, I think there's similar language if I was looking for an electrician or a plumber. Now, again, I'm not trying to make fun of someone or be hard on someone. I just want everyone to say, is this what we do? Is this what you're doing? Okay, even as I scroll down, okay, 100% custom explainer videos, expert animators deliver perfect video, get a free estimate, grow your business, 2D, 3D. So this is, I think, really helpful for people to go through, because when you put yourself in the perspective of a buyer, it's kind of like, oh shit, we really suck at marketing and messaging. I'm even looking at, like, here's Illo. These guys are great. They do fabulous work. But notice, we are a design studio with a focus on motion design, illustration, and set design. Call for aesthetics and clear storytelling. We're an international. I mean, Dominic, I don't know about you, but all of this stuff to me is factual, but actually rather useless, because it doesn't inspire me and it doesn't make any claim about what is now possible in the world. What is it that we're going to go do together? Why are we aligned? Why are we going to be the most awesome co-conspirators? But I hand the microphone to you. What are you seeing here?
Yeah, I mean, in fairness, I think, on a Google search, you're just going to be at the beginning of the conversation anyway. But my
Sure.
sense of what I'm going to see on each of those websites when I click and open 5 or 6 of these tabs, if I'm going to go hire a motion design studio and I type that in, I just get the feeling that I'm going to see award-winning creative storytellers who are great at motion design. And for the most part, I think that's what we see. I don't get a sense that there is a deliberate practice or a deliberate artistic process or vision from those things. And a lot of that is because, shops like the Mill and stuff, they're so big. They're actually these big international firms, and they say, we do motion design, figure it out from there. But
Right.
not all of us are giant international conglomerate studios that can get away with genre claim.
Well, let's also say this, because I think a reasonable question some people often ask is they go to the darlings like the Mills, right? Or they go to, let's go to Buck. Okay. They see something like this and they go, oh, I can just copy that text, change the name and a few of the words, and that's quote positioning. And just for anyone who's done that, if you copy paste it or just look at what everyone else is doing, I think the point you're making, Nick, is I'll bet you anything if you go back to where Buck was and how they were communicating, the way that they penetrated the marketplace back when they were a 2 or 10 or 30 person shop is totally different than that where they are now, because now they're famous, right? They can just say we're Buck, and it could say, we love potato chips, and people would still send them millions and millions of dollars because of that reputation, all those relationships, all that. Agree? Disagree? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, precisely. I think a great example of sort of the flip side of this is on the entertainment side, A24. Are you
Love them.
familiar with their brand?
Oh, big time. Well, every
Yeah,
time I go to see a movie and that freaking logo comes up, I'm like, oh, I'm in for a great movie.
exactly.
Like that,
Exactly.
it's that strong.
Yeah, and it's the exact opposite. I mean, they've just gone to the weirdest, craziest, most obscure place possible, including with their products and their position now. What you just said is their positioning. You go, shit, this is going to be a ride. That's their positioning. They don't have to say shit. They show you their logo and you already know.
I mean, it's a little bit akin to Apple, right? Like anything that A24 produces, if I see that somewhere on the poster and the trailer, I'm like, yep, give it to me. Like
Yep,
I'm in. I don't know where I'm going, but just give it to me.
exactly.
So what an interesting thought to say, how can we, if I'm a studio or a production company, how can we embrace that strategy? Because I'm just going to say, like, I can already feel the resistance of everyone here saying, well, yeah, but we're not famous yet, and we're not all these things yet. And so,
Exactly.
right? That's
And
the
you're never
tension,
going to be if you plagiarize all the big studios copy.
right?
Yep.
All right. Well, let me bring up a few other examples because I do want to get to some good news. Okay, because I think you and I've had a really good rant about this is why we all suck at marketing and positioning and all that. So let's take it somewhere constructive. So here's something I just want to share with people as a couple of things I've been looking at lately. One of them, Dominic, I mentioned this, Collins. Okay, they're an agency slash consultancy, but I just got to say that I was sharing this with a client on a call just a couple hours ago. One thing I just want you to notice here: where's the word "we" in this sentence? There's no
I don't
"we."
see it. I don't see it there.
Why doesn't it say "we make your future so irresistible"? Okay, because look at that. It changes colors when I select it. That's so cool.
That's sick.
How did they do that? Anyways, I just noticed because I'm sure a lot of you have a statement on your website that starts off with "we." And just notice what it suggests, but when you take that word out, this becomes an imperative verb. Who does it refer to, Dominic? You, me, we, us? I don't know. I'm curious. Tell me more because I want my future to be irresistible that it becomes inevitable,
Yeah, that sounds tasty.
right? And then I will just say, when you go into their work, look carefully at the way the work is, what the words here, the way the work is represented, I to me this is so next level. It almost drives me bonkers because I look at it and I'm like, for example, one quick moment. When I look at Sweet Green, okay, here's an iPad sitting like here's the iPad out in or sorry, the iMac. Look where it is. Look at the iPad sitting in the produce. I swear every other studio I know of would just show the iPad.
Right.
It's a little thing. I know it's kind of goofy. I don't
It's
know.
kind of a little thing, but it's kind of the whole thing.
It's just like, please show me your point of view. Please, for the love of God, show me your point of view. And it comes through very bold. Now, I'm going to move on because we're going to be out of time soon. Another brand studio agency that I'm loving on is Preacher. A lot of you already know this because we've talked about this elsewhere. But I just want everyone here to notice the power of saying something big, making a big, bold claim. Okay? You can go through this website on your own. And one thing I'll just note is, where is it? The store. When I go into this store, I don't know about you, but I want some of these divine provisions. There's a lighter in here. Like, I want that lighter. See what is not yet seen. There's a whole like belief, ethos, crazy world that I'm in.
Yep.
I think that's a great example. Now I want to show you the example that's really close to home. Some of you guys know these guys, Weekend Video. So these are some of your fellow Jumpstart guys. When they went through Jumpstart and we did all the positioning stuff, they were like, we're changing our name. We're going to become Weekend Video. And they had this whole crazy retro, blockbuster video era thing. And look, they have a store, right? That's kind of awesome. They have collections. That's pretty fun, right? Yes, the kid versions. That's like I'm kind of digging on that, but I want to go one step further because there's an implied thing here of, oh, if I buy this merch, it's because I love this brand and I'm going to work with these guys. It's not super subtle, but that's cool. Here's one step higher. I got to brag on my peeps at Polyester because this store just went live a few weeks ago. And one of my favorite things is it's a real physical store open on the weekends, and it's called Weekend Characters. It happens to be the ground floor of their studio in Toronto. But if you go through this store, you look at their merch, what you realize is this doesn't have anything to do with Polyester Studio. These are people that so love characters. They live and breathe characters. They're inviting everyone in the world who loves characters to come hang out and buy the merch, be a part of this world that's so playful and fun. And then when you look at the fine print, you're like, wait, who does this? Oh, it's made by a bunch of people who run an animation studio that's focused on characters. I think that's pretty freaking badass. And by the way, they've actually sold like a lot of merch every weekend. So you give me your take, Dominic. What do you see there?
That's brilliant. That's brilliant. I love it. It's yeah, especially brick and mortar. I mean, one of the most enlightening insights I've gained from working more closely in the fine art world is I've just learned in terms of selling and buying habits, it's pretty much like everything you buy is basically an aesthetic decision at the end of the day. You can talk about your values, you can talk about, desires for quality and whatever. At the end of the day, you're buying stuff that you want in your house. That's at the end of the day, those are the things you're buying. I want this in my house. So you're being selective and that's it's a great North Star for developing products. And also, I mean, everyone here, again, you're artists, you're creative, like you're not going to make the same shit as everyone else, and at least you shouldn't, so being able to think in terms of product design, to think in terms of like UX, retail, IRL experience, immersive. Again, now we're starting to talk about maybe there's a whole other vertical for you here.
So let me ask you to share some examples, and I'm going to preface it with this sentence that I remember Jeremy from Polyester saying late last year when we were going through this whole thing inside Confab about marketing and marketing and marketing. And I'll never forget because what he said was, and I don't know if Jeremy's here. If he is, raise your hand or give us a shout out. But he said, why do we have to call it marketing? Why can't we just call it making cool shit? And for me, it was a real light bulb moment because, I mean, honestly, Don, like I'm on the same journey you are, right? Am I an expert? I don't know. I think I'm just someone who's really curious, and I keep asking these questions. So, with that in mind, can you share some of the crazy stuff that you have on your side? You should have screen sharing
Of
powers.
course.
You've got some weird stuff that people are going to be like, "What the heck is that?"
Yeah. Is my screen coming through? Can you see
I
it?
got you. Yeah, we
Okay,
read you.
perfect. Yeah, I thought this was a great example. This is a friend of our studio, Tom Bogo. He's a really prominent up and coming fashion designer right now. And he's got manufacturing abilities because of his fashion line. So he was able to take old school Sony Handycam blanks, if you will, manufacturing blanks, and brand them with his logo. And he, in his, I guess he's maybe got a leg up because he's already a product designer. So, but it's like your limit is your imagination. I've personally looked into and priced out very similar projects, and there's companies all over the world where you can do custom branded technology products. It's easier than ever with a Google search.
Okay, look, you're on a
Another
roll.
one that sorry, go ahead.
You're on a roll. Keep
Yeah,
going.
yeah. Another one that I love is my stock agency. I'm sure a lot of you guys are familiar with Film Supply. They released a really fun campaign where they actually created a product with an actual live button on an actual live network where you can push one button and call them on the phone. They sold out of these, by the way. They call it the instant footage research device. It's a telephone where you can call a footage researcher at Film Supply. They were like $400 each, and they sold out in like a week. And maybe they'll do a rerun at some point or not. But I just thought that's brilliant.
I mean, right? Is it swag? Is it merch? I don't even know what to call it. It's category breaking.
And it's fun because they actually sold out of these. That means the agencies have these in their offices and they're pushing that button. And for me as a licensed filmmaker on their platform, that's really exciting to me. I want them to have easier access to my footage.
Can I just point out when you get stuck, just F it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly.
What else you got?
It's a little cheeky. It's fun. And in terms of web experience, I love Samuel Ross and Associates website. One of the things that I love about these guys is this is a brand that, as a consultancy, they do brand campaigns and whatever, but Samuel Ross, who founded this agency, is a product designer, and his other brand is called A Cold Wall, and they're very famous for their Nike and their Converse collabs. They do sneakers, they do apparel, they do advertising campaigns. And the thing that blows me away about this website is that what the hell am I looking at? Like, this is the coolest shit ever. It's a 3D matrix with all their designs, like in 3D space, and all their products, an exploded view, and I can see all their books. And the other cool thing about this is they've, where is in terms of activations and in real life experiences. I was in London back in April for work and went to see Samuel Ross's exhibition at White Cube. And so, Polyester has a retail store in Toronto. Samuel Ross has an industrial art exhibition at White Cube in London. It's perfect. It's right on brand. It's exactly what you'd want to go for if you're running this kind of studio. And then this is kind of a down-to-earth, blue-collar example from our own studio here in LA. Our fine art studio is called Das Audi. And what I wanted to showcase is, my business partner Tucker and I are both pretty blue-collar guys. For context, before I was working in art, I was delivering appliances for Sears. Go ahead.
Did you change your screen yet? Because I'm still seeing the SRA.
Oh, I haven't changed it yet. I'll
Okay, cool.
Yeah, so my business partner and I are both blue collar guys. I used to deliver appliances for Sears. He used to paint apartments, and we didn't grow up with a lot of money, so we did a lot of car buying on Craigslist. We do a lot of furniture flipping on Craigslist still. So what we did is, for our art business, we created a modular book, and it's 100 pages of our art and our sculpture practice. but you can actually undo the rivets and you can rearrange the book. There's no page numbers. You can take pages out and frame them. It's a really fun, interactive book. But what we started doing is, as we're also flipping furniture, we're buying and selling furniture in and out of the studio all the time. We started giving our Craigslist people copies of our book. And we sold, a fun anecdote is we sold a Vespa to this college student, and she and her roommates all loved our book. They loved our art practice. And they have, for the last 3-4 years, come to every single live event we've done. That's a fan in the real world that's got our products in their house, and they're so bought in that they just come hang out anytime we have an exhibition.
Those are, yeah. Do you call those super fans or
Yeah, exactly.
family or
Real
something?
ones. We call them real ones.
So one thing I was just thinking about as you were going through those examples, which thank you for sharing those, because I see some people chiming in and saying these are great examples, is one thought is clearly if we want different results, we have to do different things, right? Like, can we just give ourselves permission to just go, be different, do something different? Don't look at, oh, they did a t-shirt, we should do our own version of a t-shirt, right? Or like we said on the title of this thing, how about let's not make a podcast, right? I mean, again, there are great podcasts, so if that's your jam, do it, but don't do it just because. The other thought I'm having lately, and this is a theory I was going to type into the chat. I know we're out of time here, folks. Is this my latest theory that I'm playing with? I want your feedback on this, Dominic, before I let you go. My latest theory is skip the facts, make your claim. So if you took your positioning statement, we'll just start there. You take your about us statement or whatever is thing that's on your LinkedIn. If you read it to me and it's basically listing a bunch of facts, it's failing. But if it makes a claim that I almost want to go, oh really? Prove it. Oh really? Let's go do that together. Now I'm being invited into something. But what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, for me, I think what comes up, and this is sort of piggybacking on a coach that you and I have both engaged with, Blair Enns, talks about in the pitching process, stop the big reveal habit and get into conversations where you can have, you can gain meaningful insights through pixelating the questions, one question at a time, have a discussion and figure out if there's an opportunity or not. I think the same thing is true of positioning. We get obsessed with launching. We're like, oh, we're gonna do this new launch, new website, new copy, new everything. It's gonna be sick. And it's like, it could be sick or it could be shitty. I don't know. It's like, is the next Tom Cruise movie gonna sink or swim? Mission Impossible, biggest franchise ever. The last one didn't make its money back. The facts are all there. It should have. It didn't. So maybe we should take baby steps and start rolling out ideas and saying, oh, the book is really working with our Craigslist people. I don't know, like maybe there's something there. Let's slow it down and take a breath and just see what works. And that's why it's a practice. That's why you have to do it weekly or monthly or quarterly. But it's like you got to get out of the habit of thinking that we're going to do this giant reveal and that everyone's going to think we're awesome because of it.
Thank you. All right, look, I know we're out of time, so we're going to pick up this conversation, whatever, next week inside Confab. But the encouragement, because what I heard you say, I want to make sure everyone locks this in, is it's the idea of maybe of think in terms of campaigns rather than big reveals. Like if you have that big idea, that crazy thing, that thought, that idea, start the conversation. It can be the smallest thing, it could be a tweet, and see if it lands, see if it resonates, and then pick it, keep it going. And if it bombs, it's just a campaign. We just ran it for a week, ran it for a month. It didn't register. Well, we missed. Okay, let's try the next thing, and we iterate and start having a conversation. Is that what I'm hearing you say?
Yeah, and I know we're over time, but I do want to add this because I think this helps. We in 1 year we were able to boost our traffic between our socials and our website. This is when I was still running the agency. We boosted it by 6,000%. I hired a social team. I was paying a couple grand a month to have these guys just pumping out content all the time. and we got all this traffic, and that felt cool. And then I realized, what was the business result for me? It was that I spent like 20 grand on social media, and none of my clients come from social media. None of my clients ever have come from social media. So I realized we could reallocate, and we took some of those funds and we started running limited Times Square campaigns for the art studio. And we started having all these crazy samples of out of home ads and public art exhibitions and things. And that's all in our book. It's all on our website. And now people recognize us. They know us. People, I show them our first Times Square billboard, and they go, "Oh, I saw that during NFT NYC last year." And guess what? I spent less on Times Square than I did on Instagram. And I got so much more brand value out of it.
Yeah, you just broke my brain because I'm thinking of everybody here, and I'm like, hey, I want you to run a Times Square campaign next month, and everyone's
Yep.
going, wait, what? Because yeah, all right. Well, we got to wrap it up, dude. What a freaking fun conversation! I always love hanging with you.
This is a
I
good
love,
one.
yeah, you just always get me so fired up because I want to give everyone here permission to freaking get out there and frankly be bold and make these bold claims of what you know you can do once you meet the right audience and you connect with that person on an awesome human level, and they hand you a big fat budget, and then you're going to go make something incredible. So thank you. If you appreciate Dominic, please give him a high five. Dominic, where can people find you online? Because you have a course called Magnetic that I do want people to know about.
Yeah, you know what? Let me throw that in the chat real quick. It's
Yeah.
dimaria.art/magnetic for the workshop. I will put it in the chat right now.
Yeah, and it's $20. So if it's of interest to you, obviously it's a no-brainer.
Yeah, if you're interested, yeah, it's designed for you to be able to rinse and repeat as well. And I'll say art, confidence, positioning, and base hits, they're all practice. So get into a groove, cut out time for it every week, and make it part of your workflow.
Love it. Well, bro, I will see you next week in Confab. Thank you, everyone, for being here for the weekly briefing. Make it a great rest of your week. We'll see you next week for another briefing. And Dominic, talk
Thanks
soon,
for
brother.
having me, Joel. Yeah, appreciate you. And thanks all for